Good morning. Today is Tuesday, October 14th, and this is Wake Up with KERA News. I'm Andrew Garcia. Quiet weather and warm temperatures are expected through the rest of this week. Highs will be anywhere from the mid-80s to low 90s for today. A new Texas law requires parental permission before a school nurse can care for a student, and it's caused some confusion for nurses and families. We'll hear more about SB 12 after the news. The East Plano Islamic Center, or EPIC, says anti-Islam text messages sent by the head of the state's funeral agency prove religious discrimination. KERA's Toluwani Osibamowo reports EPIC's now suing the agency head over her role in the investigation into EPIC's funeral practices.
The Texas Funeral Service Commission started investigating EPIC's Islamic funeral rites in March, and EPIC sued in July. Then text surfaced that showed Commission Chair Kristen Tips sending the agency's former executive director an anti-Muslim graphic and videos in May. EPIC updated its lawsuit, and it pointed to Tips' text as evidence of, quote, religious animus motivating the Commission's investigation rather than actual regulatory concern. TFSC says its investigation was motivated only by EPIC allegedly operating as a funeral home illegally. For KERA News, I'm Toluwani Osibamowo.
More than half of rural hospitals in Texas are at risk of closure. KERA's Abigail Ruman reports rural hospital leaders say the state should utilize potential new health funding to prevent further closures.
The Texas Health and Human Services Commission is developing the state's application for a federal rural health funding program focused on transformation and innovation. Erin Clevenger is the CEO of Memorial Medical Center in Port Lavaca, near Victoria. It's at high risk of closure. She says the best way to support rural hospitals is through direct financial support for at least the first few years.
Without it, all the planning in the world will not matter because there will be no hospital left to transform.
Clevenger says the state should invest the funding into collaboration, innovation, and sustainability once rural hospitals that provide essential services are stabilized. For KERA News, I'm Abigail Ruman.
The sprawling new Texas school law, Senate Bill 12, is called a parental rights bill by its authors. It requires, among other things, parental permission for their children to receive physical or mental health services. But school nurses across the state say the new law is confusing. And, as KERA's Bill Ziebel reports, they're worried it could put their jobs in jeopardy.
Lisa Sutter's a guardian for her great-granddaughter Carmen in the Carrollton Farmers Branch School District. One day last month, the 7-year-old told Sutter she went to the school nurse and was turned away.
She says, there's some form you have to sign because they wouldn't let me stay in the nurse's office today. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Carmen was talking about a form required by SB 12. Sutter had already signed the district's own permission slip, but the new law demanded new signatures before any student could legally receive care. Sutter hadn't signed that form yet. Carmen has type 1 diabetes, requires insulin, and therefore already qualifies for a nurse's attention. Sutter complained to the school board during a September meeting.
We have a district that appears to have required denial of care until a form was signed. The over-lawyered interpretations are concerning.
The law is concerning to nurses too, not because of the bill itself, but in part because of unclear wording in a paragraph or two out of the 38-page document. The National Association of School Nurses and the Texas Nurses Association said in a joint statement last month, the law has, quote, created significant and immediate challenges for districts, families, and health professionals. Jack Frazee, general counsel for the Texas Nurses Association, says much of the confusion revolves around the term health care services and health-related services. They may sound the same, he says, but they're not.
And there's different requirements depending on whether you're delivering a health care service or a health-related service. And it wasn't always clear what services fell into which term.
School nurses, as a result, worry they might break the new law without realizing it. Becca Harkelrode is executive director of the Texas School Nurses Organization. She says it's getting in the way of caring for kids.
While the language about what was a health service was very vague in the law, The law was very clear that if you provided any services without written consent, disciplinary action was coming your way. So that gave a lot of people pause.
Some of those people include school administrators across North Texas. Wendy Eldridge is the superintendent of Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD, where Lisa Sutter's great-granddaughter goes to school.
There has been a lot of confusion, and I don't think it was defined clearly from the beginning.
SB 12 authors, State Representative Jeff Leach and Senator Brandon Creighton, acknowledged the confusion and urged simple common sense when it comes to providing basic care. So did Lisa Sutter when she addressed the Carrollton Farmers Branch School Board.
I don't think they're using common sense applying this for everyday stuff. I read the bill, and based on everything I see, I don't believe it covers Band-Aids and ice packs. I don't believe it. Not one thing I saw in there tells me that.
But to be on the safe side, Sutter has since signed the SB 12 permission form. And to clear up any ongoing confusion, the bill's authors have asked the Texas Education Agency for consistent and clear guidance on how to implement the law so schools and nurses know they're complying with it. Jack Frazee says that's what the TEA is now working on.
Those details, when do you notify and how does that happen and do you need consent beforehand? Those were the things that even nurses were confused about based on the way the bill was written, and that's what we're trying to get clarity in.
Frazee expects to see what the TEA comes up with later this month or in November.
That was KERA's Bill Ziebel reporting. The Dallas Mavericks won last night's preseason game against the Utah Jazz, 114-101, with another strong showing from Cooper Flagg, who had 11 points in 21 minutes of action. And the Dallas Stars will take on the Minnesota Wild tonight. 6 members of a Canadian high school choir die in a roller coaster accident and find themselves in limbo. A mechanical fortune teller named Karnak offers one of them the chance to return to life. That's the plot of Ride the Cyclone. The quirky horror musical opens on Thursday at Stage West in Fort Worth. To see details and more arts events, head to the Go See DFW calendar at KERAnews.org/calendar. Thanks for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. For more news in your inbox, visit KERA.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter. You'll get a more in-depth look into the news with plenty of good morning vibes. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.